I am Vinnie Tortorich, folks. Your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed. It's the Friday show. You know what that means. We bring in someone with way more knowledge than me, and we have them drop that knowledge right here, and then you guys get to benefit from it. So it's a win-win. This woman is from Australia, the other side of the planet. And she came to my attention, I want to say on Twitter. I read something. I went, you know what? I need to talk to this woman. Besides, she's easy on the eyes. What can I tell you? Her name is Dr. Penny Figtree. Yeah, we'll be asking her about that last name in just a minute because I'm interested. She graduated from the University of Sydney with first class honors. Love that. She's really smart, back in the early 90s. She is a fellow of the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners. She's a member of the scientific committee of the Australian Metabolic Health Society, and that's what we're interested in, metabolic health. So we're going to be asking her a lot about that. Without any further ado, Dr. Penny Figtree. Yeah. Oh, Penny, they love you. They're in love with you already.
So great. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for the cheers. Thanks, Vinnie, for having me.
Well, look, I can't remember how you came to my attention, but I was on the Twitter or something, or maybe even Instagram, and I read something or saw something. I just immediately wrote to you and said, I need to find out what this woman knows.
That's nice. That was the comment about insulin and Wheat Bix. You know, you can have an omelette for breakfast, or you can have Wheat Bix and insulin, which is exactly the truth for a type 2 diabetic.
Yeah. Look, let's just get right into it. But wait, no, we can't get right into it. Hang on. Figtree. Come on, that's the coolest name ever.
I know. It is cool. I feel quite cool. When I got married, there was no way I was going to change my name because I like being a fig tree. So where does it come from? Well, it's my dad's family's name, and that came from England, but they think it was a German Jewish name. So Figgenbaum is a German Jewish name, but it's just from fig tree, and they came from England, and I don't know anything more. I must research it, but it's a funny name.
I mean, you could do genealogy and try to figure out what's going on with that.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who does genealogy, and he was here at the house, and within 5 minutes, I was like, yeah, I know my family's from Sicily, and I know some of them Calabria, my mom's side, and I gave him a bunch of names. I know a lot about where they came from, but I was trying to figure out because literally half of my family in the U.S. pronounces our name Tortorici with an E at the end, and then the other half is Tortorich, same family. And when you ask for an explanation, there is none. There's zero. Some people say, well, they couldn't speak English when it came through the port. The person wasn't really paying attention. Well, why aren't they all with an H? Why did some keep the E? Another one is they were trying to assimilate and not sound so Italian when they got here. They wanted to feel more American. So, names like Vincenzo, and Antonio, and then you put an H on it and you think that's solving your Italian roots. So who knows why people do what they do. But when I think of Figtree, it puts a smile on my face because I love figs. Who doesn't like a good fig?
I know.
Right? Fig trees, it's memories of being happy, right?
Yeah, they're beautiful trees. Yes, I like being a fig tree, even though it's strange. It's good. It's memorable, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah, no, it is. The only thing that could have been better is if you were a pear tree.
Yeah, that would have been.
There's only one tree that beats the fig tree when it comes to joyous trees.
Yes. Yeah.
Oak tree wouldn't have been good for you because that's not because you look like this beautiful willowy woman. You don't look like an oak tree. That would have been more of a German, like shtetl type.
A bit more solid.
Yeah. No, you're not an oak tree. At any rate, how did you? It seems like in 2018, from what I've read about you, you came on to this whole metabolic, not metabolic, but using low carb as an approach.
Mm.
How did that happen in 2018? Did you see a bunch of patients coming in? Give us the backstory. What happened?
Well, you call us family physicians in the US, but we're general practitioners. And look, the GPs are drowning out there. You're sitting in your waiting room. And I used to think being a good doctor was making sure everyone was on all the right tablets. I'm serious. I'd look at them and go, have I got them on the cholesterol one and their blood pressure one and the osteoporosis drugs? I'd just be checking that I had them all on it. And people would just get on more and more medications. And the waiting room it's a sea of metabolic syndrome. And you're sitting in your room and people come in, with a walking stick and a sore back and a sore knee on 100 tablets, overweight, unhappy, depressed, and I'm sitting in a small room and I'm meant to fix the problem with my script pad. So, Vinny, I used to try really hard with diet and lifestyle. So I was into it, but nothing worked that I tried. And I even tried that 5-2 fast, Michael Mosley's 5-2 fast.
I just want to be clear here. You were trying that on yourself.
No, on my patients.
Okay. Okay.
So I'd suggest it to my patients, so these people would come in and I'd know it's all lifestyle and I've got my pills, my script pad, and I can't fix it with that. I'll try lifestyle, but no one could do it and it never really worked. And I sort of gave up. I would just say, just don't put on weight, eat a Mediterranean diet. Nothing worked. But then one day, a friend's husband was listening to a podcast with Jason Fung on it, and they lost a lot of weight fasting. So I bought his book, and then I discovered David Ludwig's insulin carbohydrate model of obesity, and I read his book. And the first few chapters of his book explain, like for a doctor, it just made sense. And I mean, for everyone, it makes sense, doesn't it? Carbohydrates come in, they put up insulin makes you store fat. And so I thought, right, I'm going to start doing this, but you don't know how to do it. So then Eric Westman has that white coat video. Have you ever seen that? It's
No,
quite
I
famous.
haven't. Eric is a good friend. I've never seen the white coat video,
Is he
but
a friend of yours?
yeah, he was in Fat Documentary and Fat Documentary 2.
Yes.
And he always says to me, I wish I knew that movie was going to be that big. I would have had a different haircut. Yeah. But yeah, no one knew that movie was going to do what it did. But,
Yeah.
Eric has probably been on this podcast. I don't want to exaggerate, but a half dozen times over the years,
Yeah.
more or
Well, for
less.
me, I think for people who don't know anything and just want to try it, like for a doctor, I watched this white coat video. He's in a white coat sitting at a table with patients explaining how to do a low carb diet and talking about his page 4. So I watched that video, got his page 4, and just started doing it. And I remember the first time I ever did it, a lady came in, I'd never met her before. She had palpitations. And so she was actually in our sick bay area, but that was okay. And I said to her, would you like to try losing some weight, with this special way of eating? And she was interested. So I'd never met her before. I went through the diet. I gave her a diet sheet. Now she went from 120 kilos to 79 kilos very quickly. We used to cry. Every time she came back, we would be crying. I can still remember putting her on the scale and we both crying. And so then I tried it again and it worked. And then people's reflux went and their irritable
Wait, I just
bowel.
want, did you say 120 kilos or
Oh,
107?
yeah, 120 kilograms. I don't know what that is in pounds.
Oh, I can tell you what it is. Let's see, 120. is approximately, I want to say like 255 to 265. I can do it in my head a little bit. Let's call it 260
Do you want me to
pounds.
get the calculator out?
No, it's fine. It's about 260 pounds,
Yeah,
120 kilos. Um, and what did she drop to?
to 79
So
kilograms.
we're going to call that 80 because I could do the math in my
Yeah,
head.
yeah,
So she dropped to about 175 pounds or so.
yeah. And it got
That's my special power. I can do
yeah, that's
kilos.
good. I can't do that, especially on a podcast when I'm being watched. I wouldn't be able
Yeah,
to.
I can also do meters to miles,
So good. Lucky
kilometers
you.
to miles. But it's because my wife is European,
Mm,
and I was in the cycling world for a lot of years,
yeah,
and you start to learn. You do the quick math in your head, but like I wouldn't do 79 because it's like, wait, that's an uneven number. I could
you
do
don't do that. It's too
one
many
more,
decimals.
and then, yeah, and then
Yeah,
tell you what it
yeah.
is. Yeah, okay, party trick. Okay,
Look,
continue on.
she was just a miracle, and so but everyone was a miracle. I kept doing it, and everyone kept getting better, and it wasn't weight loss became nothing. It was all about feeling well, and hands not hurting, and knees not hurting, and reflux going. And I had one regular patient who I used to have to give a tablet to before she traveled because she had this terrible diarrhea that would come on. So I would
Hmm.
give her something called Imodium whenever she traveled on airplanes.
Yeah,
And she went on the diet and it went away. And so I just then became obsessed because after years in general practice trying to fix people, it was like this miracle. And you realize most of general practice is this metabolic syndrome, and we can fix everything so easily. And I just couldn't believe that no one told us about this and that doctors don't know about this. So, of course, that's what I began to do all the time. And now that's all I do. So, I have a clinic that's called a weight loss. It's just like a weight loss clinic, but really it's a diabetes place. It's people with fatty liver disease. I'm just obsessed with it. Now with mental health as well, with that metabolic psychiatry. So I
yeah.
have so much fun because it's the most exciting and rewarding medicine that anyone can ever do. It's not depressing, and it's about stopping medication, and people come in so happy, and it's just great. So I'm very lucky that I found it, but it makes you they call us low carb zealots, Vinny,
Right.
which I'm sure you know about, but there's a
Oh,
reason for
yeah.
that.
All right. So I want to go back just a little bit. So you have this clinic now, and that's great, and people are losing weight. Everyone's healthy. Did you notice from the get go? Of course, the woman is going off of Imodium, and you start seeing. You mentioned people being on 100 tablets a day. I tell the story. I've told the story over the years several times, but it bears repeating here because you've never heard the story. I was around 50 years old, maybe 51, somewhere around there, and I just happened to be. I came from a very, very small town in the deep South, right, where you couldn't find a lean person right now. If someone said, "Penny, here's $1 million. I need you to run into someone who's perfectly healthy in the deep South in the next 20 minutes,"
Yeah,
you couldn't do it. You
you
could
sure?
not do it. It won't happen. Everyone is morbidly obese. So
Mm,
I happen to be back in my hometown, and I was talking to my mom, and she goes, "Yeah, your cousins. It's Friday night. They do a little get together, and everyone kind of stops by." And I said, "You know what? I haven't seen my cousins in a while. I'll just drive over there on the way to dinner and go visit." Well, it turns out that these people would get together like almost every Friday, and it was a lot of them. It wasn't just my relatives; it was everyone they worked with, and all these different people. It must have been like 40 people there on an evening get together in someone's yard.
mm. That's
I know
nice.
it sounds crazy, but I was there and I was running into people who I had not seen since I was 18 years old. I'm 50 now, right? So this is a lifetime, and I didn't recognize a lot of these people
Mhm. Yeah,
because they were all, to a person. obese in some way, shape, or form, and a lot of them morbidly obese.
Mm.
And as I always like to say, the word morbid is right in the title, which is
Yes.
never a good thing. So the evening wears on a bit. I got a drink or two in me, and they have a few drinks. And, you know, everyone that I would have a longer conversation with, tell me about your kids. You know how that goes. You haven't seen anyone. How many kids do you have? Oh, you're a grandparent. Oh, this kind of thing. The conversation, no matter how many, because I hate talking about myself. I
Mm.
like to ask people questions because I'm very uneasy around people.
Mm.
I've just never had that skill. So I'm asking them about their kids and their grandkids. And the questions started coming back. Hey, man, you've kept yourself pretty fit. Like, yeah. Yeah. You might be asking, how many medications are you on? And they were asking me that. And I was like, what are you talking about? See, I was completely unaware.
Mm.
And it's like, why would I be on medications? Now, I started thinking, oh, they know I had cancer, right?
Mm.
They heard
Yeah.
that I had cancer. So
Mm.
obviously they're asking me if I'm still in any kind of chemo or something. But the cancer had been passed by 5 years, right? And it's like, what do you mean medications? It's like, how many pills do you take every day? Or as you would say, Penny, tablets. And I said, well, I'm on zero. And they was, no, come on, Vin. You don't have to act tough in front of us. How many medications? And it's like, I'm goose egg. I don't take anything. And that guy called over and, hey, Johnny, come here. Vinny, tell him what you just told me. Zero medication. Before I knew it, there was a group of people around me going, what do you mean you don't take anything?
You're like the freak.
Yeah, they were looking at me as if, and they're going, "Oh, I get it. You stay healthy, you run, you go to the gym." It's like, yeah, but guys, it's not just that. You can't outrun a bad diet. It's all
Mm.
diet. Yeah. But they thought I was a freak.
Yes.
When I started asking them, how many medications are you guys on? 8, 7, 5, 6, 12. The number was all over the place.
Mm.
And then I started asking, well, wait, what are these medications? I didn't realize how naive I was just 11 years ago,
Mm.
right? That was 11 years ago. How naive. And they were like, well, we take Ozempic. And of course, then you got to take this other drug to combat what Ozempic is doing. And I'm taking this thing for my liver disease. And I'm taking that for sleep apnea. Oh, by the way, they were all on the thing on their face
Yes.
at night,
Yeah.
CPAP. I
Yeah.
was I was blown away.
Yeah.
And
I
people
call it
say,
like a cliche. Everyone is the same. Like in general practice, everyone is the same. Everyone has the same pills, the same CPAP machine. It's like bing, bing, and they're all in the waiting room and you're giving them all their pills, one after the other. But it's all lifestyle. It's shocking.
it's the crazy part. They started talking about the CPAP machine,
Yeah.
and then the conversation got away from me. Now I'm watching this conversation. It's like, hey, they have that new cleaner for your CPAP machine. It really cleans it out. You just have to run it through once. You don't have to do it 5 times. They're saying things and I'm like sitting there going, what's a CPAP machine?
Man, you don't have anything in common with them anymore because you can't talk
Zero.
about the machine.
Yeah. They're talking about. I wanted to talk about cool sports cars or something, and they're talking about CPAP machines,
Yes.
a product I knew it existed
Mm.
because my dad had one, but I thought it was because my dad was just old and fat and fill in the blank. These people were my age or younger,
Mm.
right? Drugs, or you would say tablets. I was freaked. As a matter of fact, I came back and famously did something called the Donaldsonville. That was the name of the town. The Donaldsonville episode. And I got in trouble with the whole city. I grew up in a very small town.
Yes.
They all got upset because someone heard the podcast and said, how dare he? I didn't mention any names. But
Mm.
you see, they had to look at themselves. And
Yeah.
several of them called me and said, hey, it was all over Facebook, apparently. I don't go to Facebook. And several of them called me and said, hey, listen, I think what you talked about needed to be talked about. Do you feel that kind of pushback where you are?
From my friends, from my patients.
Society, friends? I mean, look, you live in the same neck of the woods as Gary
Yeah.
Fettke. We know what they tried to do to Gary.
I know. Do you know, I really believe things are changing. So do I feel that push? So as far as low carb pushback, as far as the pill pushback, no, I don't. I feel people are hopeful that they want change. So people who come to see me want to change. So I've already selected people out who want to change. Um, Doctors are supportive. So in my town, they think it's exciting, and I'm giving a talk to some local doctors. I give a talk to Rotary. The other specialists, specialists send me their patients. The gastroenterologists with their fatty liver disease patients, they'll send them to me. I had an anaesthetist's husband the other day, and so I actually think low carb's becoming a big thing, but I wouldn't. But you're saying, do you feel pushback from trying to make people healthy instead of give them tablets? Is that what you're asking, Vinny?
Yeah, because look, Gary Fettke was out there and he figured out that, his job was to cut limbs off when
Yeah.
someone had, type 2 diabetes. And then he figured out, wait, these people come in to have their limbs cut off. I give them a second chance. They get to save their limb.
Mm,
And the medical community went after him and said,
yeah.
if you don't stop this, if you don't stop saving people, literally, we're going to take your license away. Well, he kept doing what he was doing. And if it wasn't for him, and even more so, Belinda Fettke,
Yes.
who just kept railing and railing and railing. And, they had taken his license away. And when we did the movie, he was still in a fix, right? He wasn't able to practice or anything else. And then they knew this movie was coming out where he was being featured, right? And then all of a sudden they had an about face about the whole thing. They just turned the whole thing around overnight, right? Just overnight. They went, okay, you can practice again. But they still, the Fetkes are still pushing and pushing and pushing. They had all kinds of problems. I really feel like they opened the gate for people like you.
They so did. And that's what Gary Fettke always says. Don't, because there are still some doctors who worry they're going to get sued for
Yeah.
saying this. I've never had that worry. And I would say it's because Gary went before us, and he always says to us, you do not need to worry. That, it's called APRA, the registration authority, will never go after you again, will never touch food again. I think because he pushed back so hard that they won't touch food again. They got sort of bitten because he wasn't an easy target. So you're exactly right. He took that hit, and it definitely in Australia, I feel protected by that. I don't think that I'll have any worries. I probably shouldn't say that, but I've never felt anxious about it. But Gary's a bit of a legend. He's very famous. He's like, the godfather.
And
He,
he should be. I mean, the guy could have easily said, okay, just keep paying me a lot of money. I'll keep chopping limbs off. But
yes, yeah,
I mean, you want to talk about someone who stood up and lost a lot of money,
yeah.
went through a lot of money just, fighting this. There was another girl there, and I met her at a convention. She came up to me after a talk.
Mm.
I did a talk, and her name is Marianne
Macy,
De
Marianne de Macy. I
another one,
Yeah,
another one
and I
who does
tell
stuff.
you,
Yeah, go
yes.
on.
Look, see, I'm older and wiser, and I used to be a bad person because
Yeah,
I remember when she used to be on a television show called Catalyst. She was an investigative journalist,
right.
and they did a show on statins, pretty much saying they're not that great, guys. So a lot of people stopped them. But then she got in so much trouble and they went after her, and the show, I think, ended and she lost her job. But at that time, I didn't know anything. I was the statin prescriber. And I
Yeah.
actually remember meeting a cardiologist. He told me more people died from stopping their statins than in the war, or, something ridiculous. And that he'd been taking a statin since he was 30. And they were all, and so I was like influenced by all of this and thought Marianne was just terrible. And now, of course, I'm like, no, now I can see you don't believe all these mainstream people. You have to look underneath. And she was, of course, a victim. She was a victim. So she's really continuing to fight. They haven't beaten her either. She's continuing to write in journals about statins and also even the vaccine. She's just, they haven't shut her down. But it's terrible, isn't it? It's just like a witch hunt. It's nothing to do with science. It's a witch hunt.
Well, look, I mean, I'll never forget. I met her. It was before Fat came out. We were showing like a 19-minute clip of it. I want to say it was at Nadir Ali's conference in Houston, low carb Houston. It could have been somewhere else. And I remember, I went up and introduced the clip. We watched it, and then, oh no. At that one, we played the whole movie. We showed the clip at KetoCon. At that one, we played the whole movie. The movie had just come out, and they put it up on a big screen, and we showed it. I went up and introduced it, and then after I went up to answer questions. And I remember she was right in the front row, Marianne, and she asked a question or two. And then after the event, she said, "Are you going to be at the dinner tonight?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "I'd like to talk to you." And I was like, "Great." So we spoke, we had a long conversation at the dinner. I didn't know who she was at the time. And she said, "How did you get away with saying everything you were able to say in that movie?" And I said, "What do you mean? It's all been cleared. We've cleared all of the stuff." She goes, "No, you're saying all of this stuff." She goes, "I got kicked off the air for saying 1/10 of what you're saying in that movie." And I said, "That's the difference between Australia and America. Free country. We can, as long as you're not lying, well, you can actually lie and say whatever you want, right? And get away with it. Vegans have been
Yes.
doing it for years, but
So no one's been sued at all there?
no,
No.
no,
Because there was
no.
that Canadian doctor. There's a Canadian doctor that got in trouble. She had to prove that she wasn't allowed to say you can reverse diabetes or cure your diabetes. Which she was using low carb. I can't remember her name, but so
I, I
Canada's
don't,
obviously a bit stricter.
I don't remember that one, but good friend of the show,
Mm,
and I consider him a personal friend over in South Africa. Tim
yeah,
Noak.
yeah.
Tim
He's
Noak.
like,
He went through two
mm,
trials, which each trial cost a couple of millions of dollars, and they found him innocent twice in South Africa. Do you know what his infraction was? Do
he
you
told
remember?
on Twitter. He said, "Don't give your baby like wean it onto real food, essentially low carb."
That's pretty much it. It was a setup from the beginning.
Was
The
it?
wo- oh yeah, it was a setup. The woman was sent to set him up and said, "Do you think it's okay for a kid to eat red meat?" And he goes, "Once a kid is weaned, you should have them on animal protein as well as vegetables." That's the quote.
Mm.
Two trials. Two trials. My good friend Nina Teichos went there and testified. Yeah, they got all these people to go testify. Nina was telling me that the attorneys on the other side during the breaks would come up to her and say, "Can you sign our books?" And then they would go, "So you think this low carb is good?" The whole thing was just this kangaroo court. They were trying to railroad Tim Noakes, and he beat them, and they went back and did it again.
And why do you think they didn't like him so much?
Because he's telling people that you can eat real food. You see, people think I need a tinfoil hat when I talk about this,
Mm,
right? But I'm a guy who's been railroaded, right? No one's tried to sue me because you can't sue me. Well, anyone can sue anyone, but I've been taken off of Wikipedia. One person was able to take me off of Wikipedia.
How can you
They
take
said
someone?
she had it taken off. They said we can't. She said to Wikipedia, we can't prove anything about this guy is real. Not one thing. Not one thing. We don't even think he's a real person. They removed me from Wikipedia. My wife happens to be a celebrity here in the U.S. She's an actress.
It's nice.
They took me off of her Wikipedia as her husband and reinstated her ex-husband as her husband on
Are you
Wikipedia.
are you serious?
I'm not. I'm very definitely serious. My hometown has a Wikipedia page,
Yeah.
and I'm one of the famous people from a small town because I've done documentaries and the Hollywood thing and books and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Took me off of that website too. Took me off of that Wikipedia. Completely removed me and Malcolm Kendrick on the same day. We were both taken down the same day. Never put back again.
Never
Right?
put back again. You're not there. If I look you up, you're not there.
I'm not on Wikipedia. Nope. Nope. Used
Ah,
to be. And everything about me on Wikipedia was factual. I didn't put it up there. It was
mm.
started by someone else, but everything was factual. I was shocked as to how factual my
So
Wikipedia
can
was.
I go and add you?
I've asked people to go. I said, hey, go start a new Wikipedia. See if they let it happen.
Okay.
They try to, as a matter of fact, whenever people try to do it, they wanted to salt me, meaning, once you salt someone, they can never come back again.
Mm-hmm.
That's called salting.
Right.
People have tried to put me back on. They go, no, we can't prove that guy exists. The whole time that Jack owned Twitter, they
Yeah.
wouldn't give me a blue check mark.
But you're back
Right?
now.
Well, I have a blue check mark now, but it's paid for.
Yeah.
Anyone can get a blue check mark.
Yeah. God.
On Instagram, when I got to 100,000 people on
Mm.
Instagram, they started and if you go look, I'm like at 92 or 93,000 now.
Mm.
When I got to 100,000, they started taking them away. So if 500 people follow me per day, they'll take away 520 people. And then people will write to me and go, hey, man, why did you remove me from your Wikipedia, from your Instagram? It's like, I don't remove
So is
anyone.
there some rule once you get to 100,000, something happens on Instagram?
So
Why don't
Meta decided, you see, I'm a disruptor.
Yeah.
When you do documentaries that get outside of what they can control, see,
Yeah.
they can't control my documentaries. They're
Yeah.
seen around the world,
Mm.
right? They can't control me that way, but they can certainly control me in their little pathetic small world. So Meta, I have a private Facebook group. You're going to love this one.
Mm.
It's a private group. It's called Vinnie Tortorich's No Sugars, No Grains. It's not seen. You have to be in the group to see. They threatened to get rid of that site. It's got about 35, 40,000 people in it. They threatened to get rid of that site on Facebook because of hate speech. Do you want to know what the hate speech was?
Yeah.
Someone used the term, and I'm quoting, bacon fat.
No.
Not to describe someone, but to say, I like cooking food in my rendered bacon fat. That was the hate
So
speech.
Vinny, I'm finding this so hard to believe, but I believe you. So I'm like, I can't believe it. So
It's
this
the
is like
world
a
we live in.
private face. How do they know what's going on in that Facebook group?
Meta knows everything. They Meta owns Facebook. That's the
And so
main.
they wrote to you and said, there's hate speech in your group.
Yeah, they this is your last warning, and we had to explain to them, hey, your bot caught the word bacon fat. They didn't apologize. They just dropped it and moved on.
Mm. It is scary because
That's how, yeah,
who chooses what the truth is? It's, you know,
right. That's the world we live in. That's the world you're in now. You're
yes.
in our. That's why my heart goes out to Belinda and Gary Fettke,
Mm,
Tim Noakes. Because it happens to me. I don't sit here and go, "Woe is me," feel sorry for me. I don't care,
mm,
right? I'm just trying to help people. But at every, they did it to us. I don't know if you know this. They they've knocked everyone down a bunch of notches on YouTube. People
I
like
hear
me.
people saying things. So I like Sean Baker or someone will write, "Is
Right.
what's happened?" Or
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Dr. Berg, all of us, they put it out there. This is not a secret. They said, we're gonna downgrade what we show low carb stuff to because we think is dangerous, right? They've decided that. Just unilateral decision.
Yes.
So you're there trying to help people.
Mm.
We're trying to get it out to the world via, like when I go onto other sites, we have other places I can go. People go, that's a right-wing site. It's like, yes, but they allow me to say what I want to say,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
that's
do
the
you know yeah, so here's me going, "I think it's all okay," because in Australia do you know Peter Bruckner?
why does that name sound
You'll
familiar?
know him because he gives talks at low carb things. His mates with Gary Fettke, and he has got an app called, and he's friends with Paul Mason. You might know Paul Mason. He's in
Oh,
Australia.
Paul has been on the show a few times.
Yeah.
How do you spell Bruckner? Brooker.
Brukner.
I want to see if I've had him on. No, his face is familiar to me. I don't
Yeah.
know him. But go
So he's
on.
written a few books, about defeat diabetes and low carb. But he has an app with Paul. Paul's involved with it as well, and it's called Defeat Diabetes. And it's a low carb app, but our Australian Diabetes Association has just announced that they're partnering with this app that's Dr. Bruckner's app, and Paul's the medical CEO. And so they'll be offering that to people who want to learn about it through Defeat Diabetes. So that's why I feel in Australia it might be just becoming might squish in and become mainstream. So there's a few things happening, within some of the universities. We've got a university in Queensland, James Cook University, and they're actually doing a trial with the ketogenic diet and schizophrenia. So I feel like it's just, they're not going to be able to hold it back because everyone's going to be doing it. And the doctors get diabetes themselves, like
Right.
Peter Bruckner, who got diabetes, cure it, and then they go, oh my goodness. So it's sort of unstoppable. That's what I feel.
Well, look, we keep thinking that, and I, I keep hoping,
Yeah.
right? But when you think about it, Robert Atkins came around in the early mid 70s,
Mm.
right? And he happened upon it just the way you happened upon it, and everyone else. Someone walked in, and one of his patients goes, "Oh my God, you've lost a ton of weight."
Yeah.
And he goes, "How did you do it?" And he goes, "Well, I read the letter on corpulence that was written way back. I want to say late 1800s, early 1900s,
Mm.
and I just followed that." So, Atkins knew about the letter on corpulence, and so he went and read it and said, "You know what? I'm going to try this on a few patients and see what happens." And he starts Atkins. Now, it was considered, a kook diet. You can't actually live on it. People would only do the Atkins induction phase for 2 weeks and go, "Oh my God, I lost 15 pounds," which in 1975, if that's all you had to lose usually was 15 pounds. And
It'd
people
be
would just
too
put more.
thin. Stop.
Yeah, it's like you got to stop. You were losing too much weight.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was also known as the drinker's diet. I don't know if you know that. You might
No.
be too young to know that. Yeah, the Atkins diet back in the early 80s, a lot of kids I knew, they called it the drinker's diet, right? If you're in college, you like to drink a lot, just
Yeah.
do the Atkins diet to counteract all the booze you're drinking,
Okay,
right?
cool.
Where you can
Yeah.
somehow stay level when you're 19 and
Yes.
doing it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, the drinker's diet.
Yeah.
But you would have thought, oh wait, this works, is going to continue on, but then it
Yes.
died off, and then he died.
Mm.
If you ask any vegan, they'll tell you he died of heart disease. The
Yeah.
fact of the matter is, he slipped on ice, cracked his head, and died of a coma in a
Mm.
coma
Mm.
3 days later. Nothing to do with heart disease. But let's not let the truth get in the way of a good lie.
Yeah.
And then the family or whoever sold Atkins to a big corporation, and they started making shakes and bars and everything else. And, it got bastardized, right?
Mm.
So that's what happens there. And then you have this wave of guys like me who I was keeping low carb a secret because this was my weapon in Hollywood to get.
Really?
Oh, I talk about it freely on the show.
Yeah. You see, didn't want to tell what your secret was that your people lost weight and did the best. That's
I was known
interesting.
as the I was known as the quick weight loss guy in Hollywood. So, just to give you an example, let's say a movie gets done,
Yeah.
right? And you have a big actress in it. Now, the movie's done, and a lot of times these actresses would plan their pregnancies like on the day, cut, petri dish, pregnancy, baby. Now they have the baby weight. Now it's time for the movie to come out. It takes about a year for these things to come out, and they're carrying baby weight.
Mm.
They can't go and promote this not looking like the superhero they looked like in the movie, right? They got the baby weight, big floppy boobs, low extra bar in the middle, and they got to be on the red carpet, right?
Mm.
Somehow I would get called in. Hey, quick weight loss. You got 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Go do it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
would just put these people on super low carb diets and tighten
Yeah.
them up like that because they were young. It was easy to do. And everyone thought I was a miracle worker.
Mm.
Right? How's he doing that? What's he doing? Does he have
Yes.
them just running on a treadmill all day? What's going on? Yeah,
Yeah.
they were exercising, but it was mostly diet, right? And there
Mm.
were 2 or 3 guys like me in Hollywood doing this.
Mm.
I didn't want Google to know my secrets. That would end my business, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Until I decided, okay, time to move on and tell people about this.
Mm. Well, do you know my husband is a urologist, so he does lots of operations in the pelvis and also on kidneys and prostates. So if people need to lose weight for surgery, he gets them to do a very low carbohydrate diet, and they lose huge amounts of weight
Yeah.
before their operations very quickly. So if their operation's in a month, they just go hardcore. And he says it's changed his practice because it saves so much time when you're operating. And often there's a fat around the kidney. They call it toxic fat, and it's really hard to peel off in the operation. But he feels when they lose this weight rapidly, it seems to get rid of that sort of fat and makes it much easier. So not movie stars, but similar, this magic diet that's so magic.
I want to get into, you talk about diabetic kidney disease, and I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what goes on in your clinic specifically. But before we do that, we have to pay a bill over here. So,
Oh,
folks,
okay,
Vinnie
do it.
Tortorich olive oil is the best olive oil on the planet. Look, we were talking about Villa Capelli on this show before they paid me a dime. We started selling a lot of olive oil for him. Paul Capelli called me up and said, please talk about it in every show. I said, you're going to have to pay me. And that's been a relationship for the past 10 years. Now, how much do I believe in this product? It's the only olive oil I use in my house, period. You're getting the world's best olive oil at the best price. The real stuff ain't cheap. Would you believe, doctor, would you believe that in this country, you're able to cut olive oil up to 40% and still
Mhm.
call it pure virgin 100% olive oil when it's got nothing but seed oils in it, which is the other thing I'm sure Penny and I can talk about today. I'm calling her Penny because I feel like we're all friends at this
Yeah,
point.
do call me Penny.
Yes. Villa Capelli, folks, you want to save 10%, put in promo code Vinnie, Vinnie, no wimpy Y. You'll get 10% off if you spend more than $125 after the discount. So let me do the math. If you spend about $140 minus a 10% discount, you'll still be above $125. You'll get free shipping. See, Penny, is not just kilos to pounds. I can also do that math.
So good,
Yeah,
especially
look at,
live.
yeah. So go check out Villa Capelli. Let them know we sent you. VillaCapelli.com and put in promo code Vinny. We're talking to Dr. Penny Figtree, the
Is that
coolest
an
name.
Italian olive oil?
Yeah, it's from Puglia. I don't think they ship to Australia. Like it would literally cost you by the time it got to you, probably $250
Mm. I
for a
buy
full year.
Australian olive oil here in Australia, but
Do you guys have good olive oil there?
yes, and they're not meant to be contaminated.
Oh,
So,
good.
yeah,
Yeah, good
those
olive
ones.
oil. Look, good olive oil is impossible to find, and you want to talk about something that holds inflammation down. Olive oil. Look, the ad is over with, but people ask me about my own supplementation. They go, "What do you
Mm,
supplement with?
yeah,
What are you doing?" And fish oil every day.
yeah.
I take my omega threes every day, and I take olive oil every day.
Mm,
I If I don't have any other way of putting it in me, I just take a little 1 ounce jigger and just down it really fast.
mm,
It's a great anti-inflam, is good for you, and you get some good healthy fats in you. I mean, come on. It's that simple.
yeah.
It really is.
Mm, mm.
Um, so yeah, I've never had Australian olive. I got some of your hats. I love
Have
Australia. I got
got
some,
an
yeah.
Akubra.
I have an Akubris right over there, right next to my Stetson.
That's
Uh,
nice.
I like wearing big brim hats, so I don't get too much sun on top of my ears and what have you.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, a Cobra is it's a great. Do you have an Cobra or
I
two or three?
don't have I think when you're in Australia, you don't wear an Akubra often. Maybe
Is it
some
more?
people do.
Is it more of an export? I mean, the hats are beautiful.
They
The
are beautiful. It's more horse people, I think. Gosh, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe more like the really super center of Australia type cowboy type person.
Yeah, it's your version of a sheep herder cowboy type hat.
Yes. I don't
Um,
think you'd wear one down the road. But I think some glamorous women might wear an Akubra just if you're being glamorous.
if you're going to a garden party or something like that,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing out in the country, yeah, I can see a woman in like a long skirt with an Cobra hat on.
Nicole
Yeah,
Kidman might wear one.
yeah. Nicole Kidman, she could pull off any. You could put her in burlap,
You
and
could.
yeah. But yeah, my Cobra. Yeah, I hate to say this, but it stinks because I sweat in it all the time. I use it hiking and kayaking and everything else, and
Great. So practical.
yeah, and of course,
Maybe I'll get one. I better get one, I think, now.
they're way cheaper for you guys. They're
Yeah.
expensive as hell for us
Yeah.
because you have to get them here, you know.
Yes. Yeah, you
But
do.
since I'm a hat guy, and I have a few Stetsons, it drives me nuts. I had some beautiful Stetson cowboy style hats, and my daughter took them. Oh, we have Western night at college tonight. Here you go, honey. Here's a beautiful felt hat. And then you never see it again. Right. And then there's another Western party the next year. There goes another Stetson. Right. So I used to have a bunch of these great cowboy Stetsons and they're gone.
That's
They're all
shocking.
gone. Yeah. Kids. Anyway, kidney disease. You see
Yes.
where this podcast goes, Penny?
I know,
It just,
so good, especially when I don't know what a Stenson hat is. I'm gonna have to Google it.
Stetson is like, you want to be American. You get yourself a Stetson.
Okay.
When I visit my in-laws in England, they want to know about a few different things. They want to know about um, Bronco Jeeps, the old Bronco Jeeps, because it's oddly American to them.
Mm,
They want to know about cowboy boots, and I usually have a pair on my feet.
yes.
Usually when I go there, I have at least two pairs with me. And they want to know about the Stetsons, the hat. They're obsessed with the the Western U.S. culture. Don't ask me why.
Maybe
Yeah.
'cause have you got grandchildren? Have they got grandchildren?
Only my older sister-in-law has grandkids.
Yeah.
Um, my my, her, my sister-in-law is Kristen Scott Thomas. She's a famous actress in England,
Oh,
and
wow.
her her daughter has two kids, so she's the only one with grandkids.
Mm,
Serena is the second oldest, and Tallulah doesn't have any kids that we know about yet.
okay.
So,
Alright.
yeah, we would have noticed her being pregnant. I'm pretty sure, but yeah. Some grandkids. You're not old enough for
Not
grandkids.
yet, no. Don't say that. No. My daughter is 20.
Oh, way too young.
Yeah.
Way too young.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, not yet.
you got time. All right, getting back to diabetic kidney disease. I mean, you were talking about your husband trying to strip this fat away from a kidney, and how does that work? I know you're looking into that.
Oh, the kidneys.
Yeah.
Diabetic kidney disease. Yes, because my favorite patient is the super sick person on the billion pills, a
Hmm.
bit of insulin and a bit of chronic kidney disease. I love that person because they can get so well so fast. It's
Yeah.
exciting. And so when I first started doing this, the kidney doctor didn't like it because kidneys, they like to tell you no protein, the whole low protein for kidneys, which
Hmm.
just drives people to eat more carbohydrates because they're limiting their protein to protect their diabetic kidney. So they eat more
Let me ask you a
carbohydrates.
question. Is it because they think that if they eat protein, they're going to get gout or another round of gout?
I
How does
know.
that?
So for kidney disease, the traditional dogma has been restrict protein because when you eat protein, it just increases the filtration rate in the kidney. And
Mhm.
so they think that that puts pressure on the kidney and accelerates the decline in the kidney function. But they've tried to prove this over and over again in studies, and it never, limiting protein doesn't do anything. But they still sort of hang on to that. So any people listening to this with kidney disease would have been told eat a low protein diet because protein's bad for the kidneys, which you would have heard being an exercise person, wouldn't you, about
I've been
protein?
hearing it my entire career. Oh, too much protein, bad for the kidney. Don't have dairy products, bad for the kidney. Stay away from
The
red meat.
kidneys are like this mystery bag, aren't they? Yes, don't it?
Yeah,
And people with kidney disease are in a muddle. If you ask them what to eat, do you think you can't eat? They're just weird, the things they tell you. Not meat, not stone fruit, not, and the poor things are so confused. They just eat biscuits and breakfast cereal because they don't know what to eat. And of course, that just makes them sicker. Yeah.
one of my favorite things is, is when doctors give advice. I've basically lost my train of thought here, but
Yeah.
they give this weird advice about different things that you can eat and can't eat. And I don't know about where you are, but here they'll go to some doctors and they'll call themselves they're MDs, but they're also naturopaths. Whenever I hear that, I go, "Oh boy, now we're off and running." And one of the things they do
Hashtag
here,
misinformation. Yeah.
yeah, one of the things they do here is they'll go, "Well, we're going to take your blood and we're going to test it in a different way, and and then we're going to tell you, what you shouldn't ever eat again, right?" And whenever people tell me, I do consults five
Mm,
days a week. People can call me and do a consult. I probably hear this at least once a day, 5 days a week. It's like, yeah, I went to one of these guys and they did my blood type and they told me what I can and can't eat. And I
mm.
go, great. Let me guess. Egg is at the top of that list. How did you know that? Because they tell everyone eggs are the worst thing in the world. Everyone. I've never had one person where the doctor said, hey, we did your blood, this and that. You are not allergic to eggs. Eat all the eggs you want. To a person, everyone. I'm sitting there wondering, are they even? Where are they? Is this just being pulled out of their ass, thin air? Where is it coming from?
Mhm.
Because every single one, no eggs, and they go, yeah. How did you know this? Like, well, let me tell you another one. Let me be the amazing Kreskin. Let me read your mind for you. They told you dairy products are horrible, right? Oh, they did, right? And let me guess, pork. You can't have pork. Bacon, that's off the table. That's exactly what it said. And they want to know how I know this. This is because I've heard it a million times. Have you heard this?
No,
Do you
I
know what
haven't. I
I'm talking about?
haven't. It's not
Oh,
obviously not
welcome
such
to
a big
America.
thing. Yeah.
Welcome to America, baby.
Yeah.
That's what we do here.
People are victims, aren't they?
Yeah. They walk in with, yeah, that's why at the beginning of the show, I always say your good intentions have been stolen.
Mm.
I'm trying to help you get them back.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a real statement. I'm trying to teach people. It's like, listen, your best intentions were you wanted to lose weight, you wanted to get rid of fatty liver disease. You wanted to get rid of sleep apnea. You wanted to do all of this stuff. And everything they're telling you is take a pill, take another pill, take more pills, take pill. And people think, I hate doctors. They'll go, well, you hate doctors, right? No. I don't hate doctors. I just want doctors to give the right information.
Yeah.
I remember I had Robert Lustig on the show
Mm.
a couple of years back. And I said to him, I said, because doctors don't like to talk ill of other doctors. I said, what do you think about this? What was his name? Michael Greger.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, he's a good doctor. I'm sure he
Are you
means well.
serious?
And Robert was just trying to be diplomatic. And I said, well, how do you answer this? He says that eating 1 egg per week will cause type 2 diabetes. He goes, well, I can't believe he would ever say anything like that. That's just preposterous. And I said, well, I'm pulling this right from his website. This is right on his website. And I showed it to him, and he goes, really? I said, yeah. Now let's move on to McDougall. This guy literally says on stage, on a dais, that the way to get rid of type 2 diabetes is to eat more sugar and more white rice. What do you say about that, doctor? Really? Yeah. How do you not know this? Why do I have to bring this to you? These guys have medical degrees. They're telling you to have more white rice, more sugar. They're telling you 1 egg a week is going to cause type 2 diabetes. And we're going after Tim Noakes and Gary Fettke.
Yeah. And Harvard is still telling us that red meat causes type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, well, because the T.H. Chan School of Public Health, and by the way, no one knows who the T.H. Chan family is, but they gave $350 million to Harvard, so they get to fucking control exactly what Walter Willett and his minion will say. So you could get those guys to squint and say anything, right? They got paid a lot of money to say whoever T.H. Chan is, right? And don't forget Unilever sends a lot of money their way, right? So just look at the truth.
Yes, I know.
That's
That's the problem.
That's why canceled, right? That's why you don't see me on Wikipedia, because they don't want a guy that's telling the truth, Penny.
Yeah.
That's not what they want. That's not in their best interest. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I'm sort of horrified that they've taken you off. I think I'm a bit innocent. I don't understand.
You ever want to have a real conversation of what goes on?
Yeah.
You should get a little booze into me and Nina Teichos and be in the same room.
Okay.
You will walk out of that room more depressed, because all we do is try to help people and keep them on the up and up.
Yes.
Right. And she gets attacked. I get attacked. Gary Taubes gets attacked. He's another one you want to put in that room with the low booze. Get us talking. It is not pretty. We've all been through it. And people go, oh, you bitch and moan and cry a lot. Yeah, because we're trying to help people. We're not getting paid to help people. Gary does not, outside of books, Gary doesn't make a dime. How's he going to make a dime? He's a writer. Yeah. He's not like me. He doesn't have a vitamin company and a coffee company and what have you. Right? Nina does not make a dime. She wrote a book 10 years ago. Her book came out a year or two after mine. Right? She can't possibly live on that book. Right? But these people are putting themselves out there to help other people free of charge. Same thing you're doing, right? You have a website where you have information out there free of charge. People can just go and take it, right? You don't make anything from it, or maybe you do. I don't know. But the bottom line is you're trying to help people. And once you start making a name for yourself, they're coming for you. Ask Belinda Fettke. Ask Gary Fettke.
Yeah. They're mean.
Yeah.
You see them on Twitter being nasty.
Ask Marianne DeMasi.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Ask them all. Ask them all. They turn us all into kooks. We're all kooks.
Yeah.
Ivor Cummins, kook.
Yeah.
because he dared say something about COVID.
Yes, he got destroyed, didn't he?
And by the way, everything he said turned out to be right.
Mm,
Everything.
yeah.
He just said it too early.
Yes. Yeah. I
You know,
know.
all
The
you
same
know,
Tim Noakes is the same. He was talking a lot about that. He talks a lot. No one shuts him down now.
yeah.
Tim Noakes. Mm,
It's crazy what's going on with the whole thing.
yeah, it is crazy. I know. Well, certainly I know when I figured out low carb, it made me not believe anything anymore because it's just to anyone out there, if you're not well in any way, just cut out the sugars and starches and you'll be blown away as to what happens. But I often say to patients, when you're waiting at the checkout and they put all those chocolate bars there and everywhere you go, or it's Easter, there's always something. They're always selling you something. That the
Right.
people who are selling that to you, they're not eating it. They're not eating the Snickers bar, the chocolate bars. They're on a boat sailing around the Mediterranean rich because
Yeah.
they're killing you and you're buying all the little chocolate bars. You're just a marketplace, aren't they? This is just a market for them to feed cheap, poisonous food and then sell the drugs. And people are dying. Like, it's just like, I always feel they're not like even a person. You're not like even a person to them. You're just someone to give them money. And so you have to get insight, stand back and go, I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not eating that and giving
Yeah.
that to that person. I'll give the money to a farmer and get a cow.
It's when you say it, it's so innocent and so true, but we're fighting a big industry. I can't remember which protein health bar. I met this woman who knew the guy who started the company. And you're right. He was on his yacht traveling around the world laughing about it. He goes, basically, I made a Snickers bar and put protein bar on it, and everyone bought it. And then he sold the company for, I want to say, $500 million to Nestle or one of the bigger companies, or someone took it over. And he's off laughing his ass off. He made a candy bar and just put protein bar on it. Just
Wow.
wrote down
So clever.
yeah, I mean, it happens every day. We see this kind of stuff every day, but it's all the things where you think you're doing the right thing, right?
Yeah.
People, that's what I always tell everyone. Everyone wants to do the right thing, right? But when you're addicted to sugars and grains, and I mean real addiction,
Yes.
right? I have my good friend, Dr. Drew Pinsky, on this show, who's an addiction specialist, and we were talking about it.
Mm,
And I was like, yeah, Drew, they've figured out that, sugar lights up the brain and grains light up the brain, the same as cocaine.
yeah.
And Drew pushed back and goes, well, hang on. Cocaine actually, the this and the that and the hypothalamus and blah, blah, blah. He starts throwing all these terms around. I just let him talk for a minute. I said, yeah, but the difference is we're giving sugar and grains to kids at birthday parties. And we
Yeah.
think it's okay. It's a reward, right?
Mm,
We're telling them this is okay. We
yeah.
know that cocaine is an illicit drug and we're not giving it to children.
Mm,
They have to go seek it out when they get older, right?
yeah.
And that's the difference. We're getting someone hooked on something that's very innocent. It's
Mm.
an innocent thing, sugar. What's
And
more
a friend of mine who's a radiographer, so she does ultrasounds on people,
mm-hmm.
told me that the number of kids she sees with fat in their liver now, it's almost normal
Yeah,
because so many kids are sick because the sugar giving them
yeah,
fat in their liver. They'll end up with a liver transplant.
it's
It's
crazy.
it is mad. It's the whole world has gone mad. When I go to the shops, I always walk around just feeling upset. Everyone's eating chocolate bars and drinking juices, and they're sick. Everyone's sick,
You,
depressed.
you know, look, I find it interesting whenever I go to the grocery store, whenever I leave the grocery store with usually my eggs, my meat, my fish, I get in the car, and if you look in other cars, people are so addicted. It's like a heroin hit. They bought junk food in the store. They can't leave the parking lot without opening a package of something and start eating cookies.
Mm.
right there in the car, right?
Yeah.
They can't even get home. If you're at a grocery store, home can't be that far away, right? They can't make it home. They have to have this cookie right now. They have to have this chocolate right now. There
Mm.
is no waiting. If
Yeah.
that's not addiction, I don't know what is.
Yes. It's
You
tough.
know? Yeah.
That's one
Well,
good thing about Ozempic.
what is good? Name the one good thing about Ozempic.
Well, it does work on the addiction centers. So they're finding it helps alcoholics.
Mm,
So it's sort of bad for the chocolate makers
really?
because, yeah, because the people aren't as addicted. So they can resist the chocolate bar more than they could before because Ozempic helps them with that. Yes. So that might be good.
Well, that would be a good thing. And people think I'm against Ozempic. I'm against the fact that Ozempic, you can't live on it,
Yeah.
right? You can't live on it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm
you're
with
not
you.
learning any good habit.
Mm,
Um, Studies have shown that semiglutides, GLP-1s, will take as much muscle as fat,
terrible. Yeah.
which is not a good thing. When you lose weight naturally, you lose about 15 to 20% muscle along with the fat. So if you lose
Yeah.
100 pounds, 15 to 20 pounds of that was muscle. And if you start exercising, you can get that back fairly easily. But if you
Mm,
lose 100 pounds on Ozempic and 50 pounds came from muscle, you got yourself a problem,
yeah. And
right?
look, I'm with you completely. I do use it in limited people. So sometimes I will get someone come and see me and they just can't do low carb. They can't, the cravings, the addiction is so strong. So I will put them on a little bit of Ozempic because it does give them that little help with addiction. Then they do low carb, we get the weight off, and then I withdraw the Ozempic and they keep the weight off. Whereas if you just do Ozempic without changing your diet, you're stuck on it for the rest of your life. It tends to lose its effect over time, I find, in any case. So if you
Yeah.
don't change your life, you're completely ruined. It's definitely not the solution. But sometimes in some people, it can be part of the solution. And I don't know if you know the company Verta Health. I'm sure you do. They
Very
have
well.
just published a trial showing exactly that if they had people on Ozempic and low carb, if they pulled out the Ozempic, they did just as well as the people who stayed on the Ozempic. So,
That's
Vinny,
good.
I'm just saying that for the people out there if they're desperate,
No,
a
no,
little
no. This
bit
is good.
with
Look,
low
I
carb.
don't. I don't go against anything that will work. Look, I've had Eric Westman tell me, because Eric and I are the same. We think fruit is too much for someone who's metabolically broken.
Yeah,
But he'll say, look, I'll, I will put them on fake sugars and then pull them off the fake sugars just to give them something to go with.
yeah.
Right. So I've seen doctors use some of these approaches and they seem to work.
Mm,
I just had Nadir Ali on the show, a Friday show a few weeks ago. I think he's using a little bit of the GLP-1s in a limited way, along with the low carb diet to get these people rocking and rolling. I'm not
mm.
against that, but when people go, "Hey, I'm giving up. I'm just going on a drug. I'm not going to do anything else," you're going to have yourself a problem.
Yeah, that's a disaster, an
Yeah.
absolute disaster. And you
Yep.
see it in people who don't change, and it's terrible for them because I do think it wears off. And like you say, then you've lost your muscle and you're worse off than you ever were. It's certainly
Yep.
not the answer. Certainly not the answer.
It's
But
never the
I
answer.
like that. Yeah, I use the artificial sweeteners. I think of them as like methadone. You've got heroin and methadone. Just start with the
Hmm.
methadone, and then we'll see where we can go with that. But
You and
yeah,
I use the same phrase. I always say it's the methadone clinic of sugar. I
yeah.
like,
So tell me about your no sugar, no starch, like your program. What do you do?
I like to go cold turkey with people because
Yeah.
just rip the band-aid off and just hold their hands.
Mm.
Because it's usually if I wrote a PDF after my book came out, I realized that I didn't really put a prescription in there.
Yeah.
So I sat down one afternoon and wrote 26 pages and put that PDF up on my site for free. And
Mm.
I gave it away over like I think 350,000 times. And now we charge $10 for it just to keep the pot. There's so many people that work behind the scenes
Mm,
that was coming out of my pocket. So we charge for it now, but
mm,
it's only $10. It's less than a run to Starbucks.
yeah.
Um, so my approach is just go off of it, right? And even though I tell people just go clean, they'll stick with their diet sodas and this sort of thing for a few weeks, and then they'll wean off when they start feeling better. But I'd rather just cut it clean, handhold. If you could get through that first 30 days, you're off and running. And usually the first 10 days are the toughest.
Yeah.
And once you get through that, you're born again. You're brand new,
Mm,
right? So it's always been my approach. Um, but when people tell me, "Hey, that's too rough for me. I have to do A, B, C, and D," I work with them. You know,
mm,
I'm look. I'm not trying. I don't have anything to sell, right? It's all free, right? Go
mm.
read the book. Go get the $10 PDF. If you call that not free, okay, it's not free. But it's pretty simple, right? You do A, B, C, and D. You're going to lose weight. You're going to be healthy. You're going to come off of a lot of medications. I can't tell you the number of people that were on 10, 12, 15 different medications, and
Mm.
now they're on zero or maybe one. And
Yeah.
usually the
That
one in
thyroid tablet.
it could be that, or it could be, I'm 65 years old and I would wake up 4 times to pee at night. So I take, I don't know, Flonase or
Mm,
Cialis or whatever the deal is, right?
yeah. Yeah.
But going from like 10 or 12 pills to something like a Cialis
Mm,
once a day is a big difference.
yeah. It's so amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
It's
so
like,
how do you manage that? Because, with my patients on lots of drugs, I'm sort of holding their hand as we do it. How do you do that with people just do it themselves? Like, or
I make myself available on Instagram and Twitter.
mm,
Talk to a lot of people. I answer every reasonable question every day. If someone's calling me an asshole, obviously I go past those. I can't fix stupid.
yeah,
Um, People write to me at vinnietortorich.com. Some people do the consults.
mm,
The consults you have to pay for because it takes a lot of my time.
yeah,
So I do a half an hour or an hour long consult. Usually I tell people you just need one consult and then you can, that with the PDF, you can just rock and roll. But
mm,
some of these people will, you know, call me back once every 2 weeks or once a month for like 2 or 3 months until they get themselves in a position where they can do it on their own.
yeah,
But I'm here to hold their hands as long as they need me to.
yeah.
What else am I doing? Right. So
Making
that
movies.
yeah, I mean, that's doesn't take all the time. I mean, it takes a lot of time. Right
Mm,
now, it's taking a lot of time because I'm coming to the end, and I'm doing everything. And that's the other thing. People go, "Wait, you're the guy who wrote the book, and you did that, and you're on the phone with me." It's like, yeah, I'm, I'm, I'm here to help people.
yeah.
I'm not a celebrity. I'm just a guy just trying to help people.
Mm.
That's
And
it.
it's so rewarding. Often I feel I go home from work exhausted because I get so excited. I'm
Yeah.
always so excited and see the people and they're off their insulin and they can run upstairs, their knees don't hurt. And I get sort of so excited that I have to come home and, you know, just do a bit of deep breathing to calm down because I think we get as much from it, Vinny, from helping people who are being sick and told to eat all the wrong foods, and you can fix them so easily. And it's not subtle, it's just obvious.
Yeah, I get worn down by the end of the day, but it's a good feeling,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, what are we doing? We're just here trying to help each other,
Mm.
right? That's why I don't get too depressed or anything about being kicked off of Wikipedia and being downgraded on Instagram. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
The only reason I give a shit is because they might have blocked me from someone who could really use the help.
Mm.
That's it, you know.
I wonder what they're going to do to the carnivores because if they've done that to you and you,
Oh, they're doing it to Sean. They're doing it to all of them, you know.
right, yeah,
Yeah, we all talk, People
mm,
think, "Oh, you're doing this, Sean's doing that. Are you guys friends?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we all know each other.
mm.
Sean, I was the first person to bring him on a podcast back in
Sean
like 20,
Baker.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was unheard of. He was a guy just trying to eat nothing but meat for 6 months,
Mm,
and, had him come over to my house. I was still living in Woodland Hills out in California, and, yeah, came over and we talked. He's
mm.
a great guy.
And do you know Rod Taylor, who runs Low Carb Down Under?
Uh,
You might not know Rod. He
no,
used to do those low carb conferences, Low Carb Denver.
I know those guys, but I don't know Rob from that.
So
No.
it's Rod Taylor, and he did Low Carb Down Under with the Jeffrey Gerber or that
Jeffrey
type.
Gerber, yeah, that
Yeah,
Jeffrey
yeah.
owns Low Carb, Denver.
Yes, so Rod did it with him. I thought you might know him from those conferences anyway, because he's
No,
mates with Gary Fettke and all those people.
I
But
should
yeah,
know him. It seems like I should because Jeffrey and I are, he calls, we talk.
mm,
He was in Fat a Documentary for just a minute or two. He's
yeah,
been on a podcast. I'm 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 a big fan of what Jeffrey's doing over there.
mm.
Um, he actually, the way I met Jeffrey was, Ivor Cummins showed up at my doorstep with Jeffrey Gerber in tow back when I was
Okay,
living in California. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think people realize how much we all know each other and,
Yes, because you've
and
been
hang
there
out.
from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
We all kind of, Serena always hates it when people say, well, what are you doing? It's like, I'm one of the people that brought low carb to the internet. And she goes, that sounds like you. And it's like, no, I said, I'm one of the people. I wasn't the guy. I didn't create low carb. It was around way longer than me. Like
mm,
I said, you could go back to the letter on corpulence,
mm.
and just work up from there.
Yeah,
Uh, I'm just um, I'm just a custodian of what was there before to try
mm,
to get it out to other people, along with a lot of other people like Ivor, like Dave Feldman, like Nina, Gary
mm.
Taubes. Gary Taubes does not get the credit that's
Oh,
due.
yeah,
He's done more than anyone else,
mm,
right?
yeah.
And
Taken it so hard because he gets attacked all the time, and he's so intelligent and thoughtful.
well, the difference between me and Gary is I get attacked and I don't give a shit.
Yes, does
Gary
he?
takes it hard. Yeah.
Mm,
He's a good soul. He's really a good soul. I had him on. Go back and listen about 4 or 5 Fridays ago. He was
okay.
on a Friday show about, we get together about, well, once or twice a year. I bring him back on the show
Mm.
just to catch up.
Oh, that I will. Gosh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's a good
that's
one.
nice. He is.
I could talk to you all day, but I'm supposed to be doing voiceovers for my documentaries. I'm going to rock
It's
and roll.
exciting.
Yeah, I got a few pickup lines that I flubbed and I got to just yell into the mic for a
Mm.
while. So I got to go do
Been
that.
lovely to meet you, Vinny. I'm impressed with your showman style and how you can do your intro there. You know how you did it?
Well,
I
thank
could
you.
tell you used to be on radio.
Yeah, look, I don't know if you noticed, but I do this whole show without notes. There was
Yeah,
no note.
and the way you do the commercial in the middle without even thinking.
Yeah, just no notes, no nothing, just.
And then the maths.
Hmm?
Then the maths.
Yeah, yeah, doing kilos to what did I do? I did kilos to pounds.
I should test you,
Yeah.
see how fast you can do it. There you go. Thank you for having me
Wait,
on.
wait,
I'm
wait,
so grateful, and what an honor.
give me 3 different numbers, but make them whole numbers, and
Oh,
I'll
are
tell
you
you.
serious?
Yeah, let's see if I can do it. All right.
Okay, so what are we doing? Someone's
All right, you
weight?
give me a number in kilos.
50.
Did you say 50?
Yes.
That's easy. That's 110 because that's an easy math.
Okay, we won't do that.
All right.
58. Is that
I
hard?
said do whole
Okay.
numbers, like 150, 155 or 160 or something like that.
Okay. 170.
Wait, didn't I do that one earlier in the show? That's like
No.
375 pounds, give or
Okay.
take.
I hope
375.
someone's checking this.
Yeah,
Um,
they'll let me know.
okay, another one. 80. Does 85, is that any good?
85. When you throw a 5 in, it makes it tough. So 80,
Okay, no fives.
80.
8.
Wait. 85. Give me that. 180. I'm going to say like it's somewhere between 185 and 189. I'm going to guess between 185 and 189. That would be 85 kilos.
Okay. I hope your audience will check this.
Oh,
And
they'll check it. They always let me know.
okay,
One more.
can I do it like with a 2, or does it have to? Is a 2 okay, or does it have
Let's
to be
talk.
like?
It'll make it tougher. Go on.
Okay, 192.
192. Let's see.
No, okay. Let's do
Wait, hang
another
on.
one.
Wait. 190 would be 420. Somewhere between 420 and 425. I'm going to guess. It's because the two. Yeah, so between 420 and 425 pounds.
Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant. Well done.
I'm going to look that one up. Hang on. Let me pull up a calculator. Hang on. All right. Kilos to. All right. Now we got it. 192. It's 423.28. So I said between 420 and 425. You see, I was right there.
That's great. Well done. Keep working because your brain's great.
That's my superpower. Figuring out kilos.
Have a great day. I'm off to bed.
Too. Yeah. I love how you guys have a great day. My favorite thing that you guys say. Hang on. You got to stay on until it uploads. It might take a minute or two.
Oh, okay. And thank you, Vinnie, for asking me. So lucky.
Yeah. Tell people where they can find you, Penny.
Okay. Where can they find you? Me.
You, not me.
Oh, where they can find me. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a Facebook page where I put all the science. So that's Dr. Penny Figtree. No one's got rid of it yet. So that's good. So when there's science, I like that. And Instagram the same, Dr. Penny Figtree. And Twitter, if you want to argue with me, at Penelope Figtree. That's always fun. I love Twitter the way you can chat to people. It's so fun, isn't it? You chat to like famous people, like you. And then my website is Dr. Penny Figtree. I've got a really simple course there if you wanted to do it, which is low carb made simple, which is what I tell my patients. And that's me, really. Easy to find. Because of my name.
Yeah, put in Dr. Penny Figtree. Penny spelled with a Y, a wimpy Y, Penny. Figtree just spelled like a fig tree, Figtree. Dr. Penny Figtree. You know what to do with us. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, go to VinnieTortorich.com. Click through the banner. It puts a little coal on the fire, gets my train down the track. We can keep the show free for 1 million years now with you guys going there and doing that. Also, rate and review. Unless you're a vegan. If you're a vegan, take a knee. Don't go rate and review this podcast if you just hate listening. We know we have a lot of hate listeners. Hey, y'all. Really enjoy you. So, on behalf of Dr. Penny Figtree, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with enthusiasm.